Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So glad you stopped by. Today I'm going to be working with Spellbinders Stamp and Die of the Month, August 2023. It's called Happy Hello Floral. And this stamp is huge. In fact, I think we're going to need to use a 5x7 card so that we can get the whole thing on there because it's a 6-inch stamp, I believe. So I'm going to be working with it, the stamp and the die, and then I also get the embossing folder of the month, Arches and Dots, and I think I'll work with this as well. So we'll just get started. First thing we're going to do is I've got a full panel in here. Actually, it's a half of a full sheet laying in here, and I'm just going to get my stamp out and get it stamped up, and we'll do some coloring. It's a pretty big die, so we'll just pull, or stamp I mean. Well, it's going to be a big die too because it's got a matching die to go with it. So I'm just going to lay it down here on my paper, and or on my Misty. And I was also thinking that I wanted to do this Hope All Is Well With You that I'm going to stamp. And I'm actually going to do this separate because I'm going to use white pigment ink for this, or clear pigment ink and white embossing folder for this, just to kind of help with my coloring and keeping me between the lines. Now I've obviously not used this stamp yet, so I've got to get it ready to go. Let's see, how does that lay? I want to get my magnets down there so I can hold that down. Okay, I'm just going to run my fingers over this and try and get it prepared to receive the ink. Try and get some of that film off of there. Okay, so what I have got here is just some clear embossing ink pad. It's just Stampability. It's something you can pick up at Walmart. And I'm going to try and get it really good. I don't know if I'll be able to see it or not. Let's try and get this inked up really well. It's the first stamping with it, so we'll probably do a couple of passes. I can see a little bit of it, but it certainly needs more. So we're going to try and get it. We'll see what happens. White, I'm not even certain about white on white because if you'll be able to see it enough, but I'm hoping that we will, since I'm going to color it up, and then the lines will just kind of be in the background, not really prominent. It's getting there. Okay, I'm going to give it a shot. I think I can see it fairly well. So I'm just going to pull it out, lay this aside. Get my purple paper out that I use to lay under when I am embossing, and we'll just sprinkle on the white. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like it did fairly well. Maybe I missed a little bit right there. Yeah, I did. That looks pretty good. Okay, I don't like to emboss on the video because it's noisy. And so I'll just go off camera here real quick and use my heat gun, is what I mean. So I'll be right back. So that turned out really well. If you can see that, looks really well. It's going to give me the area that I need to be able to see and to just do some coloring. So I'm going to zoom in on this, and I'm going to get my markers out and prepare to do some coloring. So let me get organized here. Okay, I've chosen these three tri-blend markers. I've got the the dull green blend, the coral blend, and the gold yellow blend. And I basically got my inspiration for these colors off of this pattern paper here. I liked the color scheme. I thought it looked kind of like fall, and so I thought I would just use it on this floral stamp set here. So I'm just going to get to coloring, and I'll probably speed it up because it will take a minute. Okay, so I've got my coloring finished, and it really is some muted tones. Let's see, how does it look in comparison to this? I think my green looks a little bit lighter, but my gold is fairly close, and the red pretty much is kind of close, so it's fairly close. My greens could have been a little bit more darker. Okay, so I'm ready to head to the die cutting machine, but I wanted to show you something. This particular die comes in two pieces, so you can cut away either one side or the other. But I am choosing to cut away both, so I've got to line them both up. You can see how it's split. At first I thought, oh, it's broken, but it's not. It's intended to be that way. So I thought I would just show you that as I line it up. And now I'll go to my die cutting machine. Go out a little bit so you can see that. So you just pull it apart and then just put it together to die cut. Okay, so I got that die cut out, and if you don't get your two ends together, it will not give you a complete cut at the corner where they meet up, so make sure you get those completely together. And I'm planning on working with this panel. I'm going to cut it down some and put it on the back of my, this is just a panel that I took 3 of my distressed oxides, rusty hinge, forest moss, dried marigold, and I guess I also took crackling campfire. So I used 4 of those to blend that panel. And I'm going to use that panel as a background for my coloring. So with that said, I'm going to take the white areas of this panel and I'm going to color them in so that they aren't so obtrusive. And I'm going to use my burnt orange blend, and I'm going to use the mid-tone. And I know that because I kind of swatched them out there to see what I liked. So I'm basically going to take this and kind of fill in behind all of these. So it should be interesting. Hopefully it'll work out all right. So I'll just speed this up. Okay, so with the embossing, that was not too challenging to go ahead and fill that all in around there. you could kind of let the embossing guide you around that. So I think it turned out all right. So let's move on to the next part of our card. We are going to emboss a white panel that this is going to sit on, and then we're going to cut down our blended panel. So just pull this out, grab this new embossing folder, and get our white cardstock laid down on there. I've already cut this to size. And we'll just go ahead and get it embossed, and we'll get our card going. Okay, so we've got our card embossed, and we've got our card base, and I've actually already put some foam on it. I used some fun foam, and then around the edges I also added some additional foam strips just so we could flatten out our embossed panel real well. So I'll just get this laid down, and we will be good to go. And I've got a little bit of an edge around here, so I need to get it laid down right. So that looks pretty close. So now we've just got a nicely embossed panel. And then I'm going to bring in my ink blended panel that I have cut down to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 is what I cut it down to. And I'm just going to use my tape runner if I can locate it. I think I put everything away last night, so that's, yeah. And you'll see I started blending on this side, and then I didn't like where I was headed, and I went in a different direction. So I just flipped it over and just did some blending, and it doesn't hurt at all. And then I've got a good edge around this. So I just want to kind of get it laid down to where I have a nice edge around it. Now I forgot before I did that I wanted to stamp a cinnamon on there. And I know about where I want my floral to go. I'm going to put it like right here, and then I was thinking I would stamp a cinnamon there. So it's going to go there, and hopefully I can do it with my embossing folder. I originally thought I was going to do it on a white piece of cardstock and set it on there. I might try that before I go and do this so that I don't ruin it. Now the cinnamon that I wanted to do was Hope All Is Well With You. I kind of liked how that would sit on here like that, because we do have a die to cut that out. I think I'm going to do it on the white and just see what we come up with and see if we like it. And I think I'm going to try something a little different here. I'm going to use my crackling campfire and see how that looks, and then die cut it out, just because it is kind of the color palette that we've got going here. So do that. Just grab a tissue. I got a little bit of ink on here. Don't want it to wind up on there. So it doesn't really matter if this is straight or not, because we're going to die cut it out, but let's see how this looks. That looks nice. Push it down right there where my H is. I think that looks pretty good, so I'm just going to take and die cut that out, and we'll see how that looks on the panel, and see if we can avoid stamping directly on there. I'm just not sure how the white on white's going to look. So I've got a die here. Let's see. I think it's this one right here. I think it goes right like that on there. So we'll just take that over the die cutting machine, cut it out, and see how it looks. Okay, so that turned out pretty well. So I think I'm going to be able to use that just fine. What I think I'm going to do is add some dimension to the cinnamon by layering it, just to give a little bit of dimension to the cinnamon. So that's what I'm doing here with my glue. Just get it matched up real well. I've only got a few minutes before I have to go to praise team practice, so I'm just going to finish this off. This has been a kind of a stop and go project, but I thought I could get it finished off. So everything's laid down there. I'm going to get this laid down where I want it. I think I want this here. Oh, I think I'm really going to like this card. So we'll just get some glue on there, get it laid down, and then we'll be done with this card. And this is the Spellbinders Clear Stamp and Die of the Month for August 2023. And of course I used the embossing folder of the month as well. And I think that looks really pretty, and I like how I used the orange to color in between there. And then I even like the white stamped sentiment because I think it just kind of pops off of that orange background. So I think that looks nice. So let me know what you think. I think it's really pretty. It's kind of, I noticed the colors look a lot darker on the video than they do actually in person, but I think it's really pretty. Hopefully I can get a decent picture of it to show you. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.